Welcome to A Dose of Feel Good. I'm your host, Whitney Bischoff, and today we are talking about people over productivity. You can see full show notes at doseoffeelgood.my.canva.site. Now let's dive into today's episode. Welcome back, everyone. We are at episode 28, which seems just wild, and I know I say that like every week, but I really want to give a shout out to everyone who tunes in every week, who has shared their thoughts with me about how this podcast has helped really change their mindset and, focus on the good. And I just love hearing that it has that impact. I think especially for myself, I can see all the analytics of who's watched, and I think sometimes I get hard on myself that, does this even matter? And just having that reminder that even recording these really helps me. And sometimes I have to challenge my own mindset sometimes. So I just want to thank y'all for joining me on the journey here. Today our topic is people over productivity, and I meet with one of my friends, and when I mentioned that I was starting this podcast, this was a topic that came up in our discussion. And I think for those of us who work probably more than 40 hours a week, we get really stuck on the productivity piece of our lives. And I mean, rightfully so. We spend the majority of our time in our workplaces, away from our families. And so it's easy, I think, to get stuck in this, what am I offering to my workplace, or, those types of things. And we sometimes then lose sight of the impact that we have on people. And I think this recognition that the relationships that we have, the people that we get to interact with, that impact goes honestly way further than the actual tangible things that we offer our workplaces in particular. And I think it's easy to get stuck there because we're a society that focuses on everything that we do or offer, or when we get feedback, it's so much related to the work that we're doing or putting together rather than who we are as people. And I think sometimes that's sad because we are so much more than what we can offer. And I think there's that one hand of feeling good about the product that we are putting together or offering in whatever workplace setting that we have. But really who we are as people is what really makes the difference, because I think we can get so stuck in this result that we forget about the process that gets us there, or the lessons that we learn along the way, because we just get stuck in, all right, I have to complete this project. And then for the high achievers, which I'm sure a lot of you are out there, we then set our sights on the next thing and the next thing. And we know that work will always be there, that there will always be more work to do, but the people are what is constant in those situations. And so really thinking that the work will come and go. I think of, that cycle where there's really busy periods. Maybe we have a little bit of a break. Right now for me, I feel like, this next month I'll get to take a little bit of a break, or things will get a little bit easier. And then the next few weeks happen, and I look forward to that next piece. And the reality of it is that the work keeps coming. And at least in the work I do, like, people still need what we have to offer. And so there's always more that can be there. But if you think of whether it's clients, I think more of like the teams that are doing the work, those people are who stay. When the work goes, or when there always seems to be more to do, the same people are there supporting you. So while those work and projects and whatever those might be shift, the people are what stay. And so just that reminder that when we take care of our people, they far exceed any expectation that we have for them. I often think of this as, we maybe set our bar here, right? Or the bar is set for us from supervisors at like that mid-level. But then our expectations for ourselves are usually 10 steps above that, right? And that's often where we get accolades, and then inside we're like, oh, but my mark was there and I didn't quite reach it. And I think it's this, I don't want to say unfortunate reminder, but this very realistic reminder that most of what we do in our daily jobs, anyone can do, right? And that's why we can be rehired at the end of the day. Or, if something were to happen to us tomorrow, we would be replaced in a heartbeat. That's just how the world works. It has to keep functioning. But I also think that there's a lot of beauty in knowing that, your personality, your kindness, how you show up for people, the energy that you bring is what makes a culture, is what makes that positive culture. And no one else can bring that to the plate. I love my coworkers in any setting. I get along with people fairly well, but I also know I have a very unique energy. And so while my previous positions have been rehired, replaced in those settings, I still have really great relationships with those people, and am reminded of that energy that I did bring and that value that I added. And I'm the only one who can bring that to the plate, right? There are plenty of other people who can do the work that I do, but my why is what makes those truly unique. And I think if you think of this in a few different ways. So first, when we were having this conversation about people over productivity, we were really talking about what would happen in our culture if teams were supported. If when someone was stressed in their job, rather than, saying, have you gotten XYZ done? Focusing on that work, right? Focusing on that bottom line. If we truly asked, how are you doing? How can I support you? What does that actually look like in practice? You will have greater productivity. That is truly how it works. And so when we were in the coffee shop talking about this, I get really passionate, lively. It's the energy that I bring. But there was a nurse standing kind of near us, and she came up to us just totally out of the blue. We didn't know her. And she was like, I just really want to commend you on this concept that you're talking about, and anyone would be really lucky to have you lead their teams. And that's one of my favorite things that I do is, helping people reach that potential and focusing on, their growth, and that reminder that they are more than that. At the end of the day, like, you have to feel good about going home and the work that you're doing, but I can't force anyone to feel that way. And so really focusing on that team mentality, I think, is really important. And so when we change that culture, unfortunately, it can't start all the time with those who aren't making those big level decisions, who aren't helping balance what that bottom line looks like with supporting our people. But I do think there's power in that. And I think people recognize that. Like, if I was just supported in this way, or if I was approached with curiosity, or whatever that looks like, it does really change the dynamic in wanting to come to work every day, rather than feeling like it's a chore. And I think thinking about, who are your favorite people that you work with or that you have worked with, and why is that? And I think for me, I think of the people who genuinely saw me as a person rather than the work that I brought, were interested in my life, would see maybe when I'm not doing as well, and would maybe call me out on that a little bit. I think especially for the folks that we try to act like we have it all together, there's a trick here. No one does. But when I worked with people who had that genuine reaction to me as a human being and wanting to know more about me as a human, are the people that I know have still stuck with me. And I think if you take a second to just think, like, who are the people that become more than just your coworkers? I know for me, it's the people who were my lifeline in that setting when I was at a really low point. And just questioning, like, I pour my heart and soul into my work. I give it 110%. But the people who saw when I was drained, they're the people who I still have relationships with, regardless of where I'm working now. And so just knowing that those people outlast any job that you'll have. And I think there's so much power in that. I think there's a few different ways that this can be really impactful. I think really just this reminder that people have it hard. They already come to the plate with a lot that they're carrying, and work can make us more stressed, right? Adding one thing on top of another and just not feeling like there's enough time in the day. But the people are the ones who focus on, or help us to focus on, being that good that someone else needs. And I know that's what keeps me rolling, is knowing that I'm having that impact on others, but also that those people have had an impact on me and reminding them of that. And knowing that I can't control everyone else. I can't control decisions that the management team makes or a board makes or anything like that. But we can be the ones that let that light in, that show that we can keep moving on. Or, when someone's really stressed, just that light in somebody's day. I know I've said this in a variety of settings, but that just might be what someone needs to keep going. And so taking that pause and recognizing when maybe those around you aren't doing as well, or even that pause for yourself to know when you need to ask for help, I think can be really great in knowing that it's those small everyday actions. You don't have to be best friends with everybody, but just noticing, right? We know when someone maybe isn't on their A game, or, rather than thinking, why didn't they get XYZ done? Is there more going on? Is there ways that I can support them? Whatever that looks like. And so those are things everybody can do, whether you're in a leadership position or not. But I think it's also, if you are a leader, if you're leading a team, if you have people who are looking up to you, do something for your people. Create this culture where your people are appreciated, not just for the work that they bring to the table, but who they are as people, and the unique energy that they bring to your team. And I promise they will far exceed anything that you can expect when they do truly feel like they're valued unconditionally. And when you do that, you're taking care of those people. They will stay. They will continue to contribute to your environments because they know they're valued as people. And then they bring that productivity 10 times over. But really just flipping that script of what's important. The people are important. And yes, we have to set structures and guidelines and deadlines and goals? Absolutely. But starting with the people before focusing on all of the rest can be a huge game changer. So the couple of things I would like you to think about, so our call to action for the week. First, I want you to think specifically in your work setting. Reach out to one person and just check on them. I work in a higher education setting, and I joke all the time, like, people are stressed, like they're going through a lot, and we just keep thinking of, okay, what's the next mile marker that I can celebrate? And then the next one. But I know it can stack up on folks. And so really take a second to check in on somebody and just see how they're doing and know that you have that support and that impact on them. And speaking of impact, the second thing, remind yourself of that impact that you have on people and the energy that you bring in your spaces, because there's so much value in that. And I think when we're kind of at our wits' end, we forget that. We forget that people need our energy, and really value what we bring to the table. So remind yourself of that today. And then the third one, take time to reconnect with folks. So I know when I'm stressed, I'm the first person that isolates or that honestly puts more on my plate to be a distraction. But take that time to just reconnect with your work culture, with why are you doing your work, what refills your cup. And you don't have to love your job. I know there's a lot of people who are in spaces or positions like you've never wanted to be there. But I think just that reminder of reconnecting with the people around you, even if the setting isn't so great. So that just really great, helpful reminder of the people over the productivity that you offer. And I know I've been told this, so I want to reiterate it. You don't have to prove your worth in any setting. As you show up with who you are as your authentic self, that's enough. And the people who are meant to be around you will stay around you and support you in that. And I think that's a really great way to end our episode. So join us next week, and have a great rest of your week. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you are feeling ready to conquer the week and let your impact ripple out to the world around you. Let's connect on Instagram and Threads at Dose of Feel Good Podcast. If you're loving the podcast, I'd love it if you'd hit that subscribe button and leave a review. Until next time, share your own dose of feel good and never underestimate the power of positivity.